Hello, and you're very welcome to the Turn End podcast. It's season 4, episode 33. Yes, there was a match in Oriel at some stage today, but that's not really what we're here to talk about today. Um, Unfortunately, during the match today, the very sad news came through that Dundalk superfan really, um, Mark Maxi Kavanagh had passed away, and it's just we didn't want something like this to kind of pass and not mark the occasion of the great man himself. I suppose maybe to go through that tonight. I'm joined by Pingu. How are you, pal?
Yeah, I'm here, Chris. It's obviously very sad news, and it's a very different podcast than we had probably planned on having tonight. Obviously, everybody or most people have been aware of over the past week of Maxi's struggle, and people are hoping that he was gonna pull through, and sadly, it's not the case.
Yeah, look. Normally we'd be on here and we'd be ranting and raving, and Maxi would be joining in to a certain extent as well, with us, agreeing or disagreeing with us. And I actually nearly want to do this out of a mark of respect for him as well. Because as I said to you, Dean, if we said we were doing this, he'd be leaning into my ear up in Oriel or on the street in town, kind of saying, brother, just mention this for me now, or something. And I just thought, we'll do something for him. I think everybody has an interaction, a story or something with Maxi in it. But I think for yourself, Dean, you firsthand, I suppose, through Save Our Club with Maxi, and that you really kind of I think, you really got to see up close Maxi's passion and love for Dundalk Football Club, and how you're, with him, a band of supporters really got together that time and wanted to ensure that Dundalk Football Club didn't die.
Yeah, I think, look, my relationship with Maxi started probably about 12 months before the Save Our Club stuff, when his brother Andrew was very sick, and Dundalk were hosting the Liverpool Legends game. His brother Andrew was a huge Liverpool fan. Maxi was working at the time out in Carlingford, and just a testament to the man that Maxi is. You do a small gesture for Maxi, and he makes it out that it's the most important thing that was ever done. And at the time, he put a request out for tickets for the match, and for his brother Andrew. And I was working obviously up in Oriel at the time, so I drove out to Carlingford when he was working on the burger van, 2 tickets, and in typical Kavanagh fashion, I do think I charged him. I don't think he got them for free, but I can't remember. Maybe as the story comes out over the next few days, I might change that part to sound a little bit sound almost as charitable as Maxi was. But he never forgot that. And when myself and Emily got married, he actually sent a message to my best man Mark Murray to talk about this, and he told Murray that I'd travel 100 miles, and it's on video that I travelled 100 miles to drop off the tickets when it was only from Dundalk to fucking Carlingford. But that's a testament of the man. As I say, I think there's probably, there's thousands of people probably have a story like that about Maxi, where you just done a small gesture for him and he made it, he appreciated what was done for him, and it was a big deal to him. And, as you say, the Save Our Club days, and there's a lot of people out there that get sick of me bringing it up every year about Save Our Club, and it's something that's very, very important to me. And it's important to me because of the Maxis of this world, because of the Tafts of this world, because of the Curtises of this world, because during that time, Chris, we obviously wanted to make sure that Dundalk FC was kept going, but I feel like that time for me was just very special because galvanised the everyday supporter of Dundalk Football Club together, and we all banded together for to do something good. And Maxi was at the forefront of that. And I put up a post just there now about Maxi on my personal pages, and the fucker, like, me and him used to kill each other at the meetings. Like, he used to say through the chair, but Maxi wanted stuff done yesterday. He didn't want to wait for due process, as we call it nowadays. But Maxi didn't want to wait, things to be put together. He wanted it done yesterday, and there was more times where I sat in Harry Taft's house, I sat in Orla Taft's house, and, I was like, what am I going to do with Maxi? Because he's just tortured me. And I was chatting to somebody during the week where I went to Paul Johnson with, I think it was about 500 pages up to the office in Oriel of stuff that Maxi had said to me and threats that he would do it. But through all of that, me and Maxi became very, very close. And some of that I see on social media, and some of that, over the last week, I've been going back through messages that Maxi has sent out or sent to me privately. And he's just, he's a man that had a heart of gold. And during all the good times after that, Chris, like, Maxi didn't forget about anybody that helped during that time. And, I've been in America since 2015, and I missed all the glory days. I think the last game that I was at was a Champions League qualifier where we lost to Bade Borisov in 2015. So I missed a lot of the glory days. Sorry, if I go back real quick, 2014 we won the league on a Friday night. I went back up to Dundalk to celebrate again on the Sunday night just to get my photograph with Maxi. I just want to show people kind of just how much Maxi meant to me, how much he means to the town, and how much of a loss he's going to be. But going back then, as I say, he just, any time Dundalk won a league title, he qualified for Europe, he private messaged me, he put up a post on Facebook, saying we'll never forget what happened in 2012, what we all done together. And it was it wasn't Maxi, it was me, it was everybody collectively together, what we done. And because of what we done in 2012, that's why Dundalk are where they are, he was saying at the time, so it's just, as I say, he was larger than life. And I think me and you were talking during the week, Chris, like, I'm saying Maxi and I'm referencing the nickname of Maxi, but I think that was Mark deep down. I think Maxi was the larger than life character, the Maxi taxi, the fella who put himself out there, but Mark was the one who wanted to help people. And I think it was you, Chris, that I spoke to during the week. Like, he done so much, and he put his own life at risk at times for Dundalk Football Club, but he didn't do it for Maxi. It was for the town. It was for the people, for the supporters of Dundalk Football Club. And I think that's something that people hopefully now will remember about Maxi. Is that he wanted to do everything that he done for this football club, but it was for everybody else. Sorry, I'm probably rambling a little bit now.
No, you're grand.
I just want people to know that like, Maxi done everything that he done, but it was for everyone else. Maxi stood beside whoever he done, whatever he done for, like in the Maxi taxi days, but he wanted to put a spotlight on other people. He wanted to help other people. And it's a sad day, and even tonight watching the match and seeing that space, Jason Kelly was standing beside the tunnel, and seeing that space right next to Jason where Maxi would always stand. And God help you if you're the manager. God help you if you're the manager of another team. But that space just looked empty tonight, and it was just, obviously the news kind of came through halfway through the second half that Maxi had passed away, and that's all I looked at. I think for the rest of the match was just that one spot,
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, he would. I think he loved that little spot there just because he knew he'd get on TV a wee bit as well, like Maxi. But I think that's it. I think not only did Maxi have Dundalk Football Club in his heart, but he had the town in his heart, and he never understood why everybody just didn't get it, if you know what I mean. And I think, like you said, that's why he ended up doing Maxi's taxi and everything else at the end, because he just loved driving around the town and chatting to people. And if anyone bumped into him in town at all over the past few years, and in particular since COVID and stuff like that, the one thing I always noticed about Mark was that he would sit and he made sure he had that chat with everybody, and nobody went past him. He'd always just say, he's a great lad there, and he knew a little bit about everybody in some strange way, but he knew everybody by name. It wasn't something he done flippantly. It's like he went out of his way to make sure he knew everybody and had a way to talk to everybody, and that's a real skill. from somebody as well. But I think it's very easy, like you just mentioned, it's very easy to talk about the Maxi, the the super fan Maxi and everything else, and that's what a lot of people will know about him. But like I said, there was a real gentleman behind it all, and I think only a certain few got to peep behind the curtain like that on him. Sometimes you wouldn't always open up to everybody, but I think if you look at Oriel Park today, Dean, like you've probably seen the photos come through from the shed, even the fact that the club marked, a mental health awareness campaign this week and today at the match. I think that's all very poignant at this time, as well, in relation to Maxi, in relation to everything in town, and the many people that we've lost in and around connected with Dundalk Football Club.
Yeah, I just want to give a massive shout out to the Shedside Army for putting that banner together tonight. I think they get a bad rap a lot of the time, but I think I think it's fair play to them for acknowledging Maxi and just again they let the town know how much Maxi means. Hopefully Maxi at that point was looking down and he was proud as punch to see his name there. You were saying he loved to be on telly, but I don't think Maxi loved the limelight as much as he always let on. But yeah, I think between that and obviously with the Sea Change campaign, I think it was very poignant. And he was also, he was a big fan of Head in the Game as well. He was a huge supporter of what we done there, and that's been the part that I've kind of struggled with over the past week, Chris, is, I don't want to get too much into Maxi's story tonight of how this came to be, but we preach and myself, and I know Stef was going to come on and didn't feel up to it tonight, but myself and Stef and Head in the Game in general, we preach about the importance of reaching out to people and if you need help, seek help. And I'm struggling a little bit with someone as larger in life than Maxi. When someone like Maxi needs help, it's very evident that they need help. And if Maxi's coming looking for help, then that should set off alarm bells for the services. And I'm very disappointed that he followed the advice that we threw out of seeking help, and then when he went to seek it, the health services let him down. I think that's probably a conversation for another day. I don't want to get into it, as I say, too much, but I think that's something that will be discussed, I'm sure, as the dust settles on all of this. But I think the one thing that Maxi would have wanted tonight would have been the Sea Change, and would have been that the mental health stuff put in the spotlight. And it just felt, I think again, when you reflect on the game, or on not in the game but on the night, I think it is very poignant that was kind of at the forefront of a lot of people's thoughts during the match tonight.
Yeah, look, it's hard to it's only when we're sitting here Pingu and I said, I don't know what we're even going to say or anything, and it's so hard to sum up somebody like Maxi. I think I don't know if there's anybody. There's definitely nobody around Oriel who wouldn't have something small just to kind of say about him, and who everyone kind of knew him, and it's very rare you get a character who can reach out and touch so many people. It just shows the character that Maxi was. I think like just when you see the displays, you see over the next few days you're going to see a massive outpouring across social media and stuff like that for him as well. And I think even the family will be probably surprised how far-reaching that actually will be, and it'll just show how far-reaching Maxi could be as well. I'm just going to bring in Stef for a sec. Stef, how are you, pal?
Well, man, how's things?
All good.
Yeah, look, it's a bit of a bad show to be coming on to, but
yeah,
sort of listening in there, and I thought it was probably not right to come on Maxi would be nagging me and saying, come on, what are you doing? Like, but it's just great to hear the little stories you both had about him. I think there's not one person around Dundalk that, like, you talk to people and you hear people saying, oh yeah, I sort of know him or I know of him. Like, I'd say Maxi has probably had a personal conversation with every single person in this town, like from every sort of age group, walk of life, you name it, he's probably had it. Like, and just for myself, my first encounter with Maxi was, I actually didn't know really much about him. I sort of knew the family and I knew Michael a lot. But we were playing start of pre-season with Dundalk, obviously, and we played Derry, who were full of superstars at the time. Pat Fenton had just taken them over, and we were in the first division, obviously, with John Gill, and the game was going on, and we were winning 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, and everyone just couldn't believe it. Myself and Donald Green were sitting on the bench, nudging each other, going, Jesus, there's a chance we might actually get on here. And we were warming up a few times, getting a bit excited. And we actually come on, myself and Donald come on. I think it might be a handful of minutes or something like that. But we were walking off the pitch and, we were after beating Derry 4-0, who'd been widely tipped to win the Premier Division, and we were in the First Division. And Maxi came running onto the pitch as if we just won the league and was saying, like, grabbing myself. I think he grabbed Donald probably as well, and was saying he just couldn't believe that there was a couple of local lads, another couple of local lads making the progression into first team football. Now, he sort of said we were going to win the lot, and unfortunately, my career with Dundalk didn't take off as much as it could have. But yeah, like, look, that was, he was full of enthusiasm, full of good wishes, and he couldn't be like, you felt like he was just proud of you at times, that sort of way. So, and look, one of my greatest memories is probably playing against Dundalk, the Tommy McConville selection that Dean would have been involved in originally, in the Save Our Club, and then the second year that Stephen Kenny was manager, the privilege of getting selected to be captain by Tommy, which I'd say Maxi probably had a heavy hand in twisting Tommy's arm. Look, I know Tommy since I was a kid, but when you start talking about these legends that went through our club, and unfortunately some of them are gone now, but every time I'd be speaking to Maxi, he'd be saying, like, that's your proudest moment in a Dundalk jersey. You won the First Division, but that's your proudest moment. Captain of Tommy McConville local selection from around town. So yeah, from everywhere in between, and anytime you'd meet him, if I was up to town with Sharon and the kids, Sharon would go do the shopping and she'd come back, and after about an hour, and I'd still be standing there talking to Maxi, and she'd come back another half an hour later. He'd saying to me, well, I just head home now, and you come back later on. But yeah, like, look, he was bursting full of ideas, heart of gold. If it was raining outside and you had only a t-shirt and a jumper on, he'd give you the t-shirt off his back, sort of thing. He was just incredible, and his personality was just infectious. So he's going to be a big, massive hole left in Dundalk and obviously the wider community. So just my thoughts and prayers go out to all family and friends associated with Maxi. And it just puts everything in perspective again. We keep getting these big knockbacks in life, and unfortunately there you go, there's another one. So I think Dean had touched on the stuff we do ahead in the game, but it's sort of, like I said to one or two people, it sort of puts, like, it's hard to come across, but it's like, what are we doing? Like, we're coming out here and we're asking people to seek help, and he'd obviously gone to seek help himself, but look, that's probably a different conversation for a different day. But yeah, look, I just wanted to jump on. Sharon sort of nudged me to come on because, I didn't want to let the show pass without coming come and speaking a few words about Maxi as well. But it's just lovely to hear the couple of stories you two boys have come up with so far as well.
Yeah, don't worry, Steph. You're not the only one that gets trapped with him in town and cornered, and then the wives have to come back and pull you away shortly after. Bingo, like I just had a quick look online. I think it's saying a lot. Like I'm seeing Drogheda United fans, you know, with posts about Maxi and stuff like that tonight as well. And it's also, I suppose, kind of poignant enough as well that they're mentioning mental health and you know, end the stigma of mental health and stuff all in this. Like he's going to take a legacy with him over the next few days online and in person, won't he?
Oh, 100%. I mean, him and Harry Taff became kind of the forefront of the initial stages of the Stephen Kenny era, and I think him and Harry is going to have a big impact on the push for mental health reform moving forward. You know, and hopefully they're looking down with a bit of pride on. I know Stef, like me and Stef, kind of feel the same, as I alluded to earlier, about what we do with heading the game, and I hope the two of them are looking down with a bit of pride for everything we've done today. And I just want to go back real quick and talk about what Steph brought up there about being part of the Tommy McConville 11 for that game and being captain. I think again that's a huge testament to Maxi. Like during that time, we could have tried to get friendlies with, you know, big clubs, you know, or Legends games or whatever, but it was Maxi that really was pushing for that game. And the Dundalk FC, or the Dundalk Assassins, I think that's what you were called, was it, Steph, at the time? And I think poor Maxi, it was the Dundalk Asians at one point it was called, but I think everyone knew what he meant. But I think it's you know, Maxi wanted Steph in the shop window, like, you know, there was a plan behind it. If the club was going to continue to struggle, he wanted to put the Stephen McKevitts, the Mickey O'Kanes, I think Donald Green might have played in goal for the game, at least in 2012. He wanted local players to be at the forefront of that, and again, I just think that's a huge testament to Maxi, you know. So just wanted to share that little tidbit about that. And you know, just when we're talking about stories about how he made everyone feel welcome, and he knows everyone. You lads are talking about the stories for when you met him uptown. I wanted to share this one. That 2018, I managed to get me a green card, so myself and Emily came home for Christmas, and one of the first days we went up to Dundalk for a visit, and we were strolling around, and I was showing her about town, and so I texted Maxi. I was like, "Oh, you know, we're in town. Do you want to meet up?" And he met us. He met us near the top of Clonbrassil Street, and he took Emily on a tour of Dundalk, and he took her into this cafe, and downstairs there was an old jail cell, and I can't remember where it is. You lads might know, but he took her down there to show her. But in the middle of the day, he just said, "I'm just going down the stairs here." He walked into the place, like, just said hello to whoever was working. He's like, "Just going to show these people this jail cell down here." He took Emily on a tour, and he went into some shop, and he got Emily a little necklace with a stone heart on it. But he got her that. I think he might have put two more in his pocket. He only paid for the one, so he handed me one as well, you know. But I'm sure they knew full well what Maxi was doing. But again, as I say, you know, he made anyone around him, and I think both of you have said that, he made anyone around him feel welcome, and he'd never just walk by anybody. He wanted to have a conversation with everybody. And yeah, I just wanted to share that story, because when you lads are talking about downtown, he definitely made Emily feel welcome. And even, you know, in the last couple of weeks, I think we all kind of reconnected with Maxi. Like, Maxi'd go through phases where he'd go a little bit quiet, and then obviously with everything that's happening with the club, has been happening and is continuing to happen, I think Maxi, you know, wanted to reach out to people that he knew who cared about Dundalk Football Club. And one thing that in the last few days, and I think I said it to you, Steph, I said it to you last weekend, was one thing that felt a little bit fitting to me is Maxi and my daughter Fia were sending each other voice notes on Facebook Messenger, and I was listening to some of them today, and it was just nice that that was able to happen, you know, before the unfortunate of what's came since. But yeah, just wanted to share that.
Yeah, look, I'd say everyone's got these stories. Sorry, Steph, you going to jump in?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, obviously we were on 2 weeks ago, the Waterford game, and he'd been jumping in and commenting, and then obviously, you got a few private messages off him, and this is what we should be doing, and this is what
Yeah,
should be done, and you need to do this, and he sent me a voice note. I think I've played it over a couple of times there in the last week. But yeah, it's just mad. It's a bit surreal now, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's the stories. It'll be a joy to listen to some of the stories. I'm guessing there'll be hundreds of thousands of them out there, and they'll all be unique in a Maxi way, I'm sure.
yeah. Look, as I said, I think we probably really just wanted to come on and just mark the occasion for the man himself. It kind of puts into perspective everything's been happening at the club over the past while, the results and takeovers and everything else. It kind of puts a lot into perspective in our own lives and in everyone's. We obviously knew this moment was kind of coming, and Pingu kind of put down in words one or two things, just from ourselves here all at the podcast. And if you don't mind, I'll just read it real quick then. Everyone here at the Town End podcast would like to offer our heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Mark Maxi Kavanagh. Everyone knew Maxi as a larger-than-life character who cheered on Dundalk FC no matter how they were doing. Like many others, we remember Mark as a gentle soul who showed compassion to those who crossed his path, no matter if they were black and white or maroon, or even their biggest rivals. Mark loved Dundalk FC and everyone associated with the club, no matter if they were supporters, players, coaches, groundsmen, or anything in between. Like many others, we all have stories in the way that which Mark supported our own personal endeavours, and he took great pride in seeing someone from the town succeed in whatever their chosen path was. During the dark days in Oriel Park, he always stood up for what the club, irrespective of consequences which might come his way. And he's done that to the betterment of the club and the town and so many others in his mind at that time. The tunnel at Oriel Park will be a little quieter and darker moving forward, with Maxi no longer standing there right at the front. But we know he will continue to be remembered each time the Lily Whites set foot on the pitch and in the future as well. We would like to offer our condolences again to Maxi and his family and everyone affected by this tragic loss. May Mark Maxi Kavanagh rest in peace. And I think it's safe to say, lads, you can't talk about Maxi and you can't end talking about Maxi without his favourite ending that he would say to that, and that is, come on the town.